much that is what we've got to work with. I'm going to start out the show. Last week, was the first episode, and getting used to things and getting things rolling, and I didn't really take very much time to talk about me or what I'm doing here exactly, other than promoting the local music scene, which is something that I'm passionate about and excited about. And as part of that, I'm like, I've never really done this before. I'm thinking to myself, well, I grew up watching a lot of talk shows. My mom was into talk shows. My dad was out working a lot, so if he caught one, it was pretty late at night. But, I always saw my mom watching everything from Johnny Carson and then on to Conan O'Brien and not so much into Letterman or anything like that, but I was like, well, I could have some fun with this and do the little opening monologue part, and then bring on some musicians and have some live music. So, that's kind of the concept here. Oh man, one guy we used to watch, it was like the beginning of trash TV, I guess you could say, that trash kind of interview shows. This guy, Morton Downey Jr. Oh boy, I don't know if anyone out there knows who that guy was, but oh man, that was some entertaining TV back in the day. A guy would have the most combative guests on the same panel as possible, and then all hell would break loose. So some things going on. It's basically, it's an exciting week for music for me and Steal Your Peach. We have a sold out show at the Newtown Theater on Saturday up in Bucks County. Beautiful old theater that, was renovated, and it's just a great sound, great vibe in there. And also Friday night, for the first time, be debuting this new blues band, a Marc Singer Family Blues Band, out at Cigar Republic in Conshohocken. So I'm excited about that. And anyone that's watching should definitely, it would be great to see some familiar faces. The venue, which is not, it's a cigar venue that has live music pretty frequently. My friend Mikey Jr. is playing there. They get a good mix of jazz and different types of music, and it's owned by a musician, Paul Krasson, who is a very good keyboard player who's played with some of the best in the city. So I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do that and play there and get back to my roots, playing blues music, because really, as a guitar player, and like I said, I wanted to take the beginning of this show to talk about me a little bit, in terms of, people watching, like, what the heck is this guy doing up here? People that do know me, but maybe some people tuning in don't. And, I'm from Ardmore, right here, and digging into different musics growing up, listening to what friends were listening to from 90s grunge, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, had a little phase in the hip hop, things like that. Had older brothers listening to Led Zeppelin and The Who and the Rolling Stones. Eventually, had some different experiences. One being losing my dad at an early age. Kind of had a profound effect, and made me want to dig deeper and find out where is this music coming from. Some of my favorite, the Allman Brothers, big one. My friend PJ Conboy introduced me to a very long time ago. I thought, I didn't realize, the jazz influence and really, how powerful the band they were. So when that happened, it kind of wanted me to trace, it inspired me to trace the roots of my favorite music back, and it all led me back to the blues. So when I was first playing at 17, 18 years old, because I didn't start super young, I felt like I had to make up for lost time, and I dug into the blues. Guys like the, B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie King, in terms of electric players. And what happened was, when I first went out in the public to play, it led me to a club called Warm Daddies, which was down in Old City originally, down at Front and Market. And they had a weekly blues jam there, hosted by, it would alternate months, either Georgie Bonds or Randy Lippincott. And both guys were kind of like mentors and people to look up to, especially George, who has taken the stage with my band at the World Cafe. In my opinion, the best blues singer Philadelphia's ever seen before. Just a positive spirit, always just encouraging to come on back and you're doing great. And, I never forgot that. Through that circle of people that I met down there at Warm Daddies at that time, I met lots of different people. And most of them that worked for a living but still were passionate about music through their whole life. One person in particular, this guy, Steve Grossman, who was somebody who made a very deep impression on me because he not only played the blues, he got into some of the earliest, deepest blues that I wasn't even really aware of at that time. And I got together with him, and he showed me these vintage Martins that he had, and he started playing some Mississippi John Hurt style and Reverend Gary Davis in front of me, and it just blew my mind. And I was like, he's like, here, you want to try? And I'm like, okay, and I like strum a G chord, and I really didn't even know what to do, and it was like really frustrating because I was watching his hands and just like how he would pick the bass line and the melody at the same time, and it's like just completely blown away by that. So it made me really dig deeper into getting into the early 20th century blues that came from all over the South, from Mississippi to Texas, guys like Lead Belly and Skip James, who ironically is buried in Bala Cynwyd, of all places. He had a girlfriend up in the Philadelphia area, and he ended up there, and I visited his grave. And Skip's one of my favorites because his voice is so different and haunting. And if you ever have a chance to listen, because there's no replicating those guys, because to me, they were the true pioneers in the sense that they didn't really have any ability to listen to other people to borrow. I mean, they heard the radio and they heard things, but a lot of them really did pioneer their own unique sound on the instrument, and nothing but their hands and an acoustic guitar. So enough about that. I learned how to play that style from a guy in Philadelphia named Ted Esterson, and he taught me quite a bit. He was somebody who took lessons with the Reverend Gary Davis, amongst others, and knew these guys. And I hope Ted as well, because I haven't talked to him in a while. A lot of people around Philadelphia know about him. He plays in the Wild Bohemians, which does a yearly Mardi Gras show every year on South Street, the second line, and the whole nine. So that's why it's cool for Friday night, getting back to playing some blues music. I love playing slide guitar. I love connecting with that on an emotional level, because I do feel like it's music that can really speak to anyone, and it's music that has gotten infused into all the music that came after it, to be honest. That's kind of where I've had my approach to music. And I had an original band called Old Soul Revival, and we played lots of shows at the Blockley, and then on to the Ardmore Music Hall and different venues, playing some original music. And actually is a goal for 2023 for me to get an original album out. So that's something I'm really excited about and looking forward to. That being said, music has always been a therapeutic thing for me. I view it as an ancient healing art for anyone. And on the surface, on the other side, in the last couple of years, something else that I've started to do is sell real estate. The reason for this is I feel like it's an important thing, obviously, not only to obtain a shelter over your head, but to establish some financial security for people that are able to buy homes. And I have lots of friends out there that have lots of questions, and I just want them to know that, to feel free to reach out about anything, whether it's buying or selling. I don't want to use this time to take up a whole lot of time with this, but I do have ideas, different things to offer folks that have that anxiety, because there's a lot of anxiety because it's a big deal. I've already helped friends of mine buy homes that were first-time home buyers, and it really hit home. It was a special experience. I had to go through a lot of hurdles, and when people have ups and downs in life, to actually secure a home, and then you come to settlement after all the different things that you have to get done, you give each other a hug, and it's like, wow, we did this, And there are a lot of people out there that I know have their questions and concerns. A lot of them think that, all realtors just go out and make millions of dollars and go into these lavish homes. It's not true. And whether it's a $200,000 house or a $2 million house, I will give you the best service that you could possibly ask for in terms of, taking it seriously and quite frankly, being honored that you instill trust in me to help you through that process. So that's what the hat is about. Steven Singer is nobody that I know. However, this little idea was something I came up with to catch people's eye, and it has. The idea is basically that, if you go to it and you're like, what the heck is this all about? It's going to take you to my real estate page. But it's a helpful page. It has live active listings, all different places. You can just click on it. It also has a mortgage calculator. People have concerns about contracts. There's nothing that can't be handled. If you don't want to work with me, I won't make you sign a contract. And in terms of anything on contracts, anything can be changed. The only thing that can't be changed is that I get paid when I sell your house. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Those are, some borrowed words from a mentor. But it's very true. And, if you think that it can't be done, it can be done. And what I have learned at 44, I got to tell you, there's a young generation now that's just savvy. And they're buying up real estate. And by doing that, they're securing their financial future better than any other way. Better than a 401k, better than crypto, better than anything. So I do firmly believe that, in order to get ahead, which is something that's getting harder and harder, that's a very smart way to do it. So you'll see some guests here from time to time talking about that. Today, that's what I'm talking about. I'm working with some different buyers. I'm from out here in Ardmore. I'll work on the main line, but I'll work in Philadelphia. The show's called Main Line and Beyond just because I am located out here, but this is about the Philadelphia area. It's not about the main line. I lived in Delaware County. I've lived other places. So what I saw was this fun opportunity to help give a voice to a scene that I'm passionate about, that, to be honest, I've been a little disconnected from the last few years. For good reason, being a family man and raising a child and now a second child has made it a little difficult. But this scene is unbelievable. And what I mean by that is I can say that for a fact because in Steal Your Peach and Old Soul, we traveled to Brooklyn, to DC, to Baltimore. And don't get me wrong, all these places have cool scenes and wonderful people. But there is a real vibrant music scene here in Philadelphia, from original music to tribute music and a lot of collaboration going on. And it is really humbling to have the opportunity to sit here and do this show for you guys. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much handle it as much as I want to say about me for tonight. You know where to find me in terms of music. Friday at the Cigar Republic, or Saturday, the Newtown Theater is sold out. I heard some people were trying to get refunds because of the Eagles game, maybe even somebody in the band, but that's not happening. And the venue doesn't give refunds. Well, so that'll be fun. If you have a ticket, come say hi. Hope you come to Cigar Republic. And that's that for me in the beginning of this show. That said, without further ado, I'm very excited to bring on my guest tonight, Jack Shoudy of Darlingtyn.
My man, thank you so much for having me out here.
Yes. What's going on, Jack?
Busy weekend. Darlingtyn played at Hotel Threestival out in Williamsport on Saturday. So we had to leave here 9 a.m., swing by with the band to my great aunt's memorial service in Lidditz along the way. Big ups to everyone in the band for being down to make that the early trip. You know how hard it is to get a musician on the road at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, we went by there. Had I was singing for that. She was 102 years old. My great Aunt Jane, bless her heart, she had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
Went out Williamsport, played Hotel Threestival. That was a fun time. Came back. Then I had a 9 a.m. load in Sunday, playing with Miss Cantaloupe, doing that rock and roll playhouse gig, playing.
Nice.
Aretha Franklin and Motown. So yeah,
Kids love that, huh?
yeah, it was great. The head of Live Nation for all of the East Coast was having his kid's birthday party there.
Oh.
Yeah, so the production manager at Brooklyn Bowl is like, oh yeah, just like this big wig from Live Nation's going to be there. I'm like, cool man, why would you tell me that right before I go up? You can just wait to tell me that. Like, you don't have to tell me that the kid's birthday party is like all of Live Nation, the kid of, the head of Live Nation for the East Coast.
Right.
But no, that went well.
I'm
Those
sure.
are great tunes.
Uh-huh.
Those are great tunes, and it's fun to sit down with songs that are written in a way that isn't usually how I approach them. Those are such orchestrated songs. Take a tune like I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. You could almost compare that to like a Bach chorale where every note is a different chord hit. You're not just sitting on one thing the whole time. And that was a fun gig to, I learned a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Motown. It's some music that I heard as long as I can remember. Around the house, my mom was always playing Smokey Robinson or, all kinds of that type of music. It's so uplifting.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the girl who sings for Miss Cantaloupe?
Christina Klaproth, yeah.
She was the lead vocalist on the whole show?
Yeah, with the exception, Mike Parisi, who plays bass for Miss Cantaloupe, did lead vocals for Lean On Me and Isn't She Lovely?
Nice.
Yeah.
Not easy songs to sing.
No, and we took Isn't She Lovely down, we took it down a tritone. He was like, man, this is too high. So so we did it in, I don't know, usually it's in what? I don't know, C, and usually it's in E, and we did it in B flat.
That's cool. You made it work, though.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, what are you going to ask someone to sing like Stevie Wonder?
Right.
Come on now.
Seriously, man, I've seen him twice, and it was like otherworldly. Just not only his music, but he talks in between. He makes jokes, and it's like, he just blows the crowd.
Yeah.
Mind. Everyone just sits back, and his voice is as good as it ever was.
Do you remember Coda in Center City on Walnut Street?
I never got there, but I know what you're talking about.
I mean, that was probably like a 500, maybe 800 person venue.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Stevie Wonder. He played there in the lead up to, I think, the 2016 election.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like a Hillary Clinton event or something. But like, if you RSVP'd and got there hella early, he did a show. So like, I mean, how much is a front row ticket for Stevie Wonder? And he's playing at the Wells Fargo probably.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing arenas. So to like see him, probably like a dozen people back, standing room only, in like a 500 cap venue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't imagine. Like, you can't put a price on that. That
I
was
remember
crazy.
hearing about that. Yeah.
Crazy.
So he has this connection to this area with like Michael Cimbello, who played he was from Ardmore.
Really?
Yeah.
That I did not know. I didn't know that he was from
Yeah,
Ardmore.
he was from Ardmore, right on the Haverford Township side. If you head down Wynwood Road before you hit Haverford Road, off to the left in that neighborhood. And I didn't know, but I remember playing basketball at South Ardmore Park with his brother John, because he was like a staple.
Yeah.
It was like these everyday runs, and John was always there. And my brother wrote Maniac, and, from Flashdance, because he did. And then I got to know Danny. Mm-hmm. Who was from Ardmore and was the sweetest guy, man. He passed away, but he always just had such kind words for me, and he was just a wonderful guy that I miss. That's the. Apparently he was holding auditions, and Michael got the call at like 17.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
When you get that call at that young age,
yeah,
and like to have, I mean, obviously to have the chops to back it up too.
Yeah.
You know,
he probably didn't have much of a social. If I don't know.
Probably not, man. I wasn't. Nobody was giving me the call at 17 because I wouldn't take nothing seriously.
Yeah.
You know,
playing Stevie Wonder's pretty serious.
Yeah.
How did we meet? I don't remember exactly. Was it here at the Ardmore Music?
Yeah, the first time that we had met was the first time that Darlingtyn had played the Ardmore.
Right.
It was you guys headlining. That cat Andy Mowat.
Yeah.
It was his band at the time, and then us. And yeah, that was great getting that call because me and Emily, we were on just like a little duo. Not, I wouldn't call it a tour. It was more of like a road trip with some gigs that we were playing. But like, you know, we were down Asheville and we made it all the way down to New Orleans. And our bass player at the time, who I was good friends with, we had like a falling out, and he just kind of like, you know, he had kind of quit on us like the day before, and we're like, fuck, man, it's hard, you know how that goes. And then we get the call, and also I don't gotta get into it, right. But like, you know, we were feeling kind of salty about it.
Yeah.
And
hurts morale of the band.
But then like, you know, the next day we get the call like, hey, you guys want to open, you know, at the Ardmore, and that was, you know, the biggest room that we had played at the time. And we're like, hell yeah, we want to do this. Gave a call to this bass player Eric Kramer that we had just met. He had just moved to Philly. We just saw him play a show at Kung Fu Necktie with his band, and we're like, this guy is fucking great. You know, got his number, and I was like, hey man, you know, we had talked about jamming sometime. I need a bass player for this gig at the Ardmore Music Hall. You want to do it?
Right.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, man, we don't need this guy. Like, you know, as soon as he left, we started getting way bigger gigs. Like, not because of that, but we're like, all right, man, whatever. Like, it's us. You know, the band is me and Emily. Like, we can do this.
Right.
You know, that was.
No, now you have Yeho.
Yeah, Yeho. Yeah. We got Yeho on bass right now. You know, he's going through some health troubles and stuff. So we've had actually, you know, the past couple gigs, Eric Kramer back on.
Oh, okay.
So like he was with us for the Hotel Festival we just did. Kramer's going to be with us on January 19th at Johnny Brenda's.
That's in 3 days from now.
Yeah, this Thursday. He's going to be with us on that one. He's a great player. I love Yeho too, and you know, we all want him to get better. Yeho's been ride or die with us since he joined up with us.
Yep.
So.
I remember him all the way back to the Block League.
Yeah. You'd know him all the way back when he was working the door.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was in the Philly Brothers reunion back then, which was the house band. We hosted the jam session. So yeah. It's crazy. I went there to sit in and just play, and hey, you know any Allman Brothers tunes? I'm like,
do I?
Yeah, right. And they had the Hammond, and they had all the parts, and one of, you know, some of the best musicians like James Cooper on bass, one of the best bassists in the city.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun. So you mentioned that gig coming up at Johnny Brenda's.
Yeah, that one we're excited for. I've been trying to get in that room for a little bit just as support. They're like, you know, they like the people they like. You kind of got to break into the like the JB's circle.
Mm-hmm.
So this group, The Size, that's on the bill. It's us, The Size, and a dude named Dave Cope. But The Size asked us to do the gig. We're like, yeah, man, we've been trying to get into this room. Like, this is great. Not knowing, you know, so by the time we get the ticket link and the assets and everything, we're at the top of the bill. I'm like, it's a big fucking room for us, man. Like, you didn't lead that we were the headliner. Like, if you're gonna ask somebody to headline the show, like, give a brother the heads up. It's cool, man. The pre-sales are doing all right. But yeah, like when that first happened, I was like, uh-oh. whoa.
Uh-huh.
That's a big room. But no, I'm super excited for that. That's a great sounding room. It's a great looking room.
Yeah. I was there for Vile Bread CD release party a few
Yeah.
years back, Sammy Vile. And I've seen Hezekiah Jones there as well.
You know Hard Work Movement, the hip-hop group from Philly?
No.
They're like a 9-piece live band hip-hop group. I saw them there. Nuts show. One of the main guys climbs up to the second story, jumps off back onto the stage, picks the mic right back up and keeps going.
He landed on his feet?
Yeah!
What?
Yeah, he hopped the whole way down. Yeah, that was nuts. That was the craziest show that I've seen there. I've seen other more indie stuff.
Band that we had on a show here, I know sells that place out. They're a tribute to Creedence called Kensington Clearwater Revival.
Jeff works on my guitars.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I know he does that. That's
Yeah.
cool. They were amazing, and man, their vocalist is just—he's better than Fogerty, I tell you.
yeah, right.
I mean, CCR was like an early favorite for me, so they kind of blew my mind. That was a great show. What made you get into music? How'd you get into it?
The first thing that I ever played, I did trumpet. I started trumpet in 3rd grade.
Yeah, I tried sax back then. I couldn't make a noise through the reed. They're like, "Here's a violin."
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make very good noises through the trumpet either. But after like a year or two, they needed somebody to play baritone horn, which I was a little more suited to. I don't know. I liked it. I was the only one, And then, I don't know, around that time, late elementary school, early middle school, I got my first guitar, an acoustic guitar. I still have it. It needs a little bit of neck work. It's an Art and Lutherie cherry wood acoustic, real bassy. It's a nice guitar.
Was it an artist that made you decide to play, or?
No, I was interested. So my dad wanted to play, so he got a guitar and started taking lessons. And I was interested in it, so he got me one. I took lessons for a little bit when I was younger, and I think it was kind of disheartening to him because I was just immediately blew past him.
Oh man!
Not disheartening in a salty way, but he's like, I think that was a real moment of him being like, "Fuck man, I'm getting older and I don't pick up stuff as fast."
Yeah.
And I mean that's it's true. If I was trying to pick up an instrument now, I wouldn't pick up saxophone as quick.
Right. So what did he was defeated and gave up?
sorta. He kind of plucked around at it. He's retired now. He says he's gonna get back into it, but yeah, I kind of stuck with it.
Early influences that you had?
Neil Young for sure. That's my dad's favorite artist.
Okay.
Neil Young was an early influence. That's kind of where I learned a lot of my cowboy chords and stuff like that. I liked Sublime a lot when I was younger. Not so much anymore, but that kind of Sublime, Dispatch, white boy reggae type thing. And that's how I learned how to play bar chords. Was learning tunes like that.
311.
I didn't know them.
Yeah.
I liked the Sublime stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was a little while before I got my first electric guitar. So stuff like Sublime and Dispatch, they had a lot of acoustic stuff. So, and then I was mostly self-taught. That's why I got a lot of bad habits in my playing. But there's things I could do more efficiently. So yeah, that was the start of stuff, and I ended up joining. I didn't play really with people until high school.
So Neil Young, anyone else was it more songwriter then, or than instrumental?
Yeah, for sure. Back then, I was real into your kind of pop punk, your Sum 41 stuff, but that didn't have a lot of appeal to me playing wise. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that you listen to. You know, when I was younger, I was real into like Avenged Sevenfold, that kind of like metal. But it's like a little on the poppy bent of it. But like, it, especially with the metal, I like listening to it. It didn't have a lot of appeal for me in playing. I think mostly because it was a lot of hard work.
Right. Right. You either know it or you don't.
I've always been more of a strummer than a picker. So like, you know, there's a real difference between trying to hit like than just strumming some cowboy chords.
Right. Sure.
So, yeah, that was a big part of it. And then in high school, my buddy Nick introduced me to Fish, and that was a big game changer for me.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I got into, that was my introduction to really like the whole world of live improvisational music. You know, before I, you know, had any real thought about jazz, the Dead was intimidating because the catalog was so huge. You know, Fish had a smaller catalog. They hadn't, you know, they'd only been a band for I guess 20 years by the time that I was aware of them, but as opposed to, you know, 40 plus years for the Dead. And yeah, it was just more manageable. You know, obviously I ended up getting into the Dead, but that was really by way of Fish through my buddy Nick.
Both kinds of music, Fish and the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right.
No, yeah, I get it. You know, well, I don't get Fish that much, but they're all right.
No, that's fair.
But yeah, Darlingtyn. How did you form? Was that formed with Emily?
Yeah, that was formed with Emily. We met through a mutual friend in 2012. It was March of 2012. Really hit it off. Basically, like started hanging out and haven't stopped since.
Knew you'd be making music together pretty early on.
Yeah, and we started doing that. We met. I was going to school in Westchester, at Westchester University. So like at that time, there were a couple really good open mics that were going on there. They had one at Fenario's, which is just Fens now. The best one was at this Thai place right around the corner from me, Jasmine Thai. That place isn't around. Hasn't been around forever.
Thai restaurant that had music.
Yeah, it had a bar and music. It was you know, this dude Josh.
Westchester?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was right. It was where Rex's used to be.
Oh, okay.
Down right at Wayne Street in the bottom of Gay Street, I think.
I think I played one of the last shows ever at Rex's.
Probably. Yeah.
I used to go to Spence Cafe when my friend Rob Perner would host the jams there.
That's
you know.
he had. Well, yeah, he had the jams. I think it was probably being called Social Lounge at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I met a bunch of those guys there as well. In that weird shaped like U.
Right.
That was like the
bars
worst
over here.
Yeah. You have the bar where you come in and it's long, the stage at the narrowest part, and then you have like a chilling area on the other side of the U, but nobody can get there because it's all fucking packed through the bar and the stage area.
Yeah,
but those open jams were amazing.
I had some good times there. For
like
sure.
I would go there all the time because that was like right when I turned 21 that he had started hosting those at the Social Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know you were doing from back then. Okay.
That's when I know Rob from. But yeah, me and Emily started making music around that time.
Westchester's kind of cool, like in the sense it's a college town.
Yeah.
So it has a built-in scene.
Yeah, I had two houses that both had sick basements for throwing shows. So like I didn't really go out and party. We hosted all the time, and it was always music based. Like we weren't doing like the frat scene in Westchester.
No, drinking jungle juice out of
Yeah.
trash cans.
No, I've done that. And yeah. Don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I got my fill of that.
Yeah, right. Yes, we were always hosting stuff. We started out just the two of us. The first person that we brought into the band was actually a mainline chick named Harmony. She played a harp,
Okay.
a concert harp. So
Nice.
it was, two voice, acoustic guitar, and harp. And the biggest vehicle that any of us had was a Mazda 3 hatchback. So
Getting the harp around.
you can fit a full-size concert harp in a 2005 Mazda 3 hatchback.
You hear that, folks?
If you need to move one, you can do it. You got to scooch the driver's seat all the way up, put all the back seats down. You get the harp players riding dirty. No seat belt, just back there with the harp. But we made it work. She moved down to Newark, Delaware.
I haven't seen much harp since, other than that, Koof Knox.
Yeah.
Who is from Lower Merion too, Bryn Mawr, I think, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know him through the Philly scene. I didn't know that he was from there.
Yeah, he's from out here. Yeah, they do a cool show.
Yeah, and that's a really unique thing that they do. The harp was cool. It's an impractical instrument to lug around, and it's even less practical when its owner doesn't own a car.
I can see that.
It's like a drummer not owning a car. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you got to be responsible for getting your giant ass instrument around.
Right. One thing if you're a horn player.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Show up on the subway, take an Uber, whatever. But the harp, we're like, all right, this is the biggest car we got, but we'll do it.
We got a roof rack.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing you going off in the kitchen lately, man. Tell me about that. Has that always been a passion?
I have always liked cooking. So I guess it must have been 2000. It would have been 2008, February 2008. I stopped eating meat, and my family was supportive of it. That's cool. But my mom was gonna be like, "You're gonna have to take over your own shit a little bit more, because I don't know anything about that." My mom's a great cook, but she's not an adventurous. It's a very much like a suburban white lady palate.
Meat and potatoes, chicken and potatoes.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Right.
She's got her dishes and she's good at what she does, but
Right.
there's a lot of stuff that she's just sure, do your thing, but I don't know, I don't know
along this journey. With
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I don't know how to just make your meal out of vegetables. I've been, that's almost half my life at this point. I just turned 31. I would have been 16 then. So.
Was it something specific? Factory farming? I mean, that's an issue for me. I do eat meat, but I try and stay away from anything too generic, factory farm, antibiotic and free and things like that.
Yeah, it's really mostly a resource based thing. The treatment of animals definitely does factor into it, but the energy and resources it takes to go from seed to table versus womb to table is just hundreds of times. It's a lot easier on our at this point dwindling resources. Even things as simple as water. It takes so much less water to go from seed to table than to have to water an animal the whole way. So that's really mostly what it was.
Sustainability.
Yeah, yeah. And I drive a big ass van, so it's kind of my trade-off.
Well, how about it?
Yeah.
Gotta convert that thing to fryer grease, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You need a diesel, I think. To do
Yeah.
that, but yeah. I know what you mean. If Americans could just eat a little less meat.
Yeah, I mean, really, that would be a big thing. The idea of meatless Mondays.
Yeah.
If you take one day and you're saying, all right, we're gonna go plant-based for it, and you don't have to go
You
for
eat
like
huge portions. I think it's unprecedented.
Yeah,
the amount that we eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
So and it looks like you have some influences, like different ethnic foods in your cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a way bigger Southeast Asian vegetarian culture than here. You look at especially the Buddhist countries or the Hindi countries, India, Thailand. They have a much stronger vegetarian tradition. So it's easy to look at those places and see how they treat vegetables as a main than Europe or most of North America, where your main is usually an animal protein.
Right. They've already kind of figured out the creative aspect.
Yeah, exactly. They know how to make it taste good.
Right.
And how to use it better.
But your plating, actually. I mean, I've worked in some restaurants. You got skills, man.
I only just started getting into this. I've always been happy with with what I cook. But I've always just kind of slopped it on a plate.
Right.
And it was only within the past, I don't know, like 6 months, I've started actually look at stuff like, okay, what can I do to plate better and kind of elevate it? I've worked in kitchens too. I have no desire to fucking ever work back of house ever again.
It's like a sport, but I hear you. No,
yeah, dude, it is like a sport, but and I've never been, I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah, right. No, that makes sense.
I get the hustle of it, but I think, working back of house and being a musician are not compatible, because you have to be working both at the same time.
Sure. Nights and weekends.
Yeah, exactly. Nights and weekends, that's the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not working in the kitchen nights and weekends. I'm playing,
Yeah, I mean, for what I've seen you, and to reach the tops of that field, you have to really be passionate about it.
No, for sure. I'm not, and working in kitchens, it will kill your passion if you have to do it as a job, especially if it's not an elevated way. I don't know. I have no desire to be back in that industry. If I'm gonna make shit money for a lot of work, I'll stay doing music,
Right, or you said you're doing a lot of handyman kind of contract.
Yes,
work.
yeah, I do general contract work.
But you also do kind of specialty woodworking. I saw the cutting boards around the holidays. You're like a Renaissance man.
Yeah, the woodworking stuff, that's fun. I like doing that stuff. It is a creative outlet. But I don't do as much precision woodworking. I'm not that detail oriented. It goes back to what I was saying, I don't want to be in that technical metal band, even though I like listening to it.
Right.
Because it's it's so much work to get those fine points down, fine trim work and cabinetry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You really gotta have everything just exactly perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, wood's fickle. It's so easy to, you do everything right, but your blade's a little bit dull. You chip out a piece, and what you've been working on is ruined.
Right.
So.
I thought guitar building could be a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, but then I think about, cutting where your frets go. It can't be off even a little bit.
Right.
The
kind of gives you anxiety.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
How you got to slot out your neck, slot out the neck joint for the neck.
Right.
Got to line up not only dead center for where you want it, but it has to hit at the perfect angle, so your strings are going to continue to be dead center.
Right.
I had a body built by this guy and then a neck built separately, and they didn't fit just exactly right. And I dropped it off. Pete Brown or Laudo Guitars?
I know via Facebook. I know about his company and
yeah.
building.
Yeah, I just dropped it off there. I was like, man, the slot just needs to be 2 millimeters wider, but I need you to make it equal on both sides. Like,
Right.
I was
He,
like, man,
he has that precision put
yeah,
down. Right?
yeah, and he's also got the tools for it. I had a membership at, it's called Next Fab. It's like a maker's space. They have 2 locations in Philadelphia and one in Wilmington, Delaware. But they have all the tools and everything there. You pay like a monthly fee. They got like the big dick tools that you wouldn't buy unless you were doing this
right.
full time and you had a shop for it.
Right, I think there's a spot in Roxborough. It's like a wood.
Yeah, similar thing like that. Where like, yeah, man, like you aren't gonna buy the $10,000 giant drum sander, but when they got people, throwing in for it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like even that, like I don't know, all that precision work, it's hard. I'm not detail oriented like that. That's why, that's why more or less I make country music.
Well, speaking of that, it's a perfect segue. We're gonna have you play a couple songs.
All right, man. That sounds good. Keys on the back here. So I think what I'll start out with, this was a single that we put out mid to early last year. So I wrote this when I was living back in Westchester. I wrote the music for it, wrote the melody for it. But the lyrics actually come from an Allen Ginsberg poem. I was having like some writer's block, and I had this little book of Ginsberg poems. I was thumbing through, and he put a lot of his stuff to music. I don't think he put this one to music, but I was this one was lyrical and it made sense. I saw what I could do with it. So I wasn't ever thinking about one day that I would put it out. I was just like, I like these words, I'm gonna make it a song. And then years later we come to the point where we have to where we're gonna put it out. I'm like, this is a good single. So I had to get in touch with the estate of Allen Ginsberg.
Oh my God.
And not just like license it, but they had to hear it and give their approval, basically give their blessing for it.
Huh.
So that was cool that whoever the family members are that control the estate heard the song. We're like, yeah, man, like we dig this. This is worthwhile for us to allow you to use. So he gets 50% of the songwriter's credits. I mean, I don't make any money from streaming. I've had stuff up since 2015. I got my first $25 check.
You don't have to tell me.
So yeah, anyway, this one's called In the Back of the Reel. In the back of the reel, railroad yard in San Jose, I wandered desolate in front of a tank factory, and I sat on a bench near the old switchman shack, and I sat on a bench near switchman shack. A flower lay on the hay on the asphalt highway. The dread hay, a flower, I thought it had a brittle black stem and corolla of yellowish dirty spikes, like Jesus' inch-long crown, like a soiled dry Santa cotton tuft, like a used old shaving brush that's been lying neath the garage for a year. flower, flower of industry. Tough, spiky, ugly flower, flower nonetheless, with the shape of the great yellow rose in your brain. This is the flower of the world. A flower lay on the hay, on the asphalt highway. The dread, hey, a flower, I thought it had a brittle black stem and corolla of yellowish dirty spikes, like Jesus' inch-long crown, like a soiled dry Santa cotton tuft, like a used old shaving brush that's been lying neath the garage for a year. That's been lying neath the garage for a year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we recorded that, I guess technically pre-pandemic now, at Turtle Studios, South Philly, right by, is it Penrose Diner? Melrose Diner? Way down south. With Doug Rouse as the engineer. He was great to work with. Jay Levin owns the studio. Actually, I still have some hours to cash in. I did some work for him there at the start of the pandemic, built in some like rolling COVID barriers so he could keep stuff open. They've been doing more video stuff over there, so I installed a bunch of lighting over there. I was like, especially at the start of COVID, he took it really seriously, so he didn't have a lot of people in there, which, you need people in the fucking music studio if you're going to make money. So, his cash flow was a little short at the time, and I was like, yeah, man, like, I'll go hour for hour. Like, I'll give you an hour of my labor, you give me an hour in the studio. So, I still got, maybe 20 hours banked. I got 3 songs that we want to do to finish off the record. And, just got to get back in there and do it.
You guys back at Delfest, and you're not sure?
I don't know if we're going back this year. So, man, last year was incredible for us. So we linked up, again, pre-pandemic with, Charm City Bluegrass.
I know of them from the Baltimore scene.
Yeah. So, they had, this kind of contest going on, like a Battle of the Bands thing that we started pre-pandemic, got through their first round. We were supposed to do the finals at the 8x10 down in Baltimore. And, obviously that all got messed up with pandemic stuff. Kind of a year went by. Ultimately, they put us and the other 3 bands that made it through the whole thing on. Ended up being, 4 people made it through, including us. But by the time, a year and a half later, we were able to do it again. One of the bands didn't exist anymore, so there's 3 of us, and we all played at their fall festival, and we won that. And part of the prize from that was, we got like $500 cash. That's cool, but that's what got us our booking at Charm City, Main Spring Festival, at Delfest, and at Gray Fox Bluegrass Festival. So that was huge for us. So like that's been great. That's opened a lot of doors for us, and it was just really great. Those are great places to play. man, like, you know, once you start actually working, you know, we've played 1 million of them small little regional festivals, but like, it's nice to play these big professional festivals where they really take care of you, you know.
Bluegrass festivals are fun too. Like I remember there was one I saw Mason Porter at a few years ago. It might be 10 years now, but
yeah, right.
And what was cool was the music was great, but after the music on the stages ended, the music through the campground was incredible.
Totally.
It was like Folk Fest.
Yeah.
Like that, you know?
Yeah, I played Folk Fest for the first time last year. That was with Maggie May. I play guitar in her band.
Okay.
I've been trying to get, man, like, talk about breaking into a freaking circle, like with, you know, Johnny Brenda's. You gotta really get into the Philly Folk Fest inner circle. You know, They love their people, and I'm just like, yeah, man, like.
Maybe there's some people listening to Jack here tonight. Get them up.
Give me a holler. We can
main stage.
We can move some tickets. You know.
Yeah, the next generation.
Yeah. That place, I mean, that place is tough, but that place has such a history.
Yeah,
you know.
But I agree. I mean, there are circles that are cliquey and politics and yada.
Yeah, I'm not here to talk shit. No. I'm not here to talk shit. Not complaining. I'm just saying, you know.
Do you have another song for us, or?
Yeah, I could do another song. What do we want to do here? You want to do another? So we can go two ways of it. You can do another original tune. Emily sings a lot of our original tunes, my partner in crime here.
Yeah.
I got another one kind of in that bent. We also, when we do covers, we like to like change them up. Like, you know, we were talking, you know, off mic before, you know, we do our kind of like train beat version of Shakedown Street. And that's fun because, you know, it's just a different way to do it. But also there's tunes that I love that I feel like until you start playing like significantly bigger stages, people don't want to hear you play like slow and sad usually.
Right.
You know, we're not so much a jam band, but like that's my contacts, that's my people. So like we do a lot of stuff in that thing. But like, you know, we do a cover of Sam Stone by John Prine, and like that's a beautiful, haunting song, but it's like it's slow, and you know, if you're playing a bar gig, people want to fucking hear it, you know.
Man, I had some of those hang-ups too. Not necessarily tempo, but like a lot of the songs I write kind of touch on issues in the world socially, you know, like you know, what we do with no rivers to drink from, and all of our money can only cause income, and I'm like, you know, that's kind of cool, but you know, people just want to party and dance.
So I've been trying to take like I've been trying to take
have
tunes.
some substance too, though.
Yeah, I've been trying to take tunes like that. Sam Stone, we do like an up-tempo version. We've been doing an up-tempo version of Ripple by the Dead. So yeah, I don't know, I can do an original one, or I can do one of these up-tempo.
It's up to you, man. You know, we're right about 8 o'clock now, so if we go a few minutes over, or should we just wrap up?
I'll end here with this original one here. This is off of the first EP that we had put out. I think we're gonna re-record it just because I want it on the record, you know. The best compliment that I think anyone's ever given me, my friend Testa was like, "Shit, man, that's your song? I thought that was an old tune that you guys were just doing." I think, and that really stuck with me. Like a cold cup of coffee, like a lover's embrace from the night before, and they both go down with whiskey, so I guess this is an old crow kind of horn. I wish this fridge had something else than liquor and a can of PBR. yard. Maybe this time when I open it, there'll be something that I didn't see before. It's an old crow kind of morning, after an old crow kind of night. Cheers to an old crow kind of funeral, for a sad and lonesome old crow life. My best friend is a junkie, though it's been months since he could take a breath. And though this liquor will be the death of me, I still pour some in my coffee, and I tilt that bottle up and slug the rest. It's an old crow kind of morning, after an old crow kind of night. Cheers to an old crow kind of funeral, for a sad and lonesome old crow life. At least I woke up early at the bright and sunny crack of noon. But you can't spend all night drinking if you don't see off that mean old waxing moon. It's an old crow kind of morning, after an old crow kind of night. Cheers to an old crow kind of funeral, for a sad and lonesome old crow life. And you can't spend all day drinking if you don't wake up and find a time to start. So this drink's for all my old friends whose only home's this lonesome heart. Said you and spend all day drinking. If you don't wake up and find a time to start. So this drink's for all my old friends whose only homes this lonesome heart. That one goes out to my buddy Pat Nini that just passed away on Saturday.
I saw that on your Facebook, man. Beautiful. Sorry for that.
Thank you, man.
Awesome, Jack. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me out, man.
Yes.
It's been great hanging with you, and the first time that we had met was on the Ardmore stage, and that was like a huge step up for that. So
Yeah,
appreciate
do it again. That'd be great, man. Yeah, for sure, Jack. I'll see you around. Thank you.
Johnny Brenda's January 19th coming
this
up.
Thursday.
Yeah.
This Thursday. Go see Darlingtyn. First time in that room.
Hell yeah. Thanks, brother.
And thank you guys for joining us. We've gone a little bit over time. I think I've said everything I need to say, and I'll let you know about the next guest. And I'll see you next Monday at 7, Mainline Beyond with Marc Singer.